Welcome to Healers Talk Healing. I'm your host, Nina Ganguly. Join us on this exhilarating journey as we share the wisdom and insights that can truly transform your life. It's time to embark on a voyage towards a happier, healthier you. Let's talk about sugar.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the sugar. Because
Okay.
from my own personal research and understanding, sugar can be the enemy, but
Mhm.
it's also not always the enemy. It from
Yeah.
my understanding, depends on what kind of sugar you're filling your body with, because our bodies do need glucose to actually survive.
Okay. So firstly, sugar isn't glucose, it's sucralose. So that's just
Mm.
glucose is fruit. Glucose is vegetables, So you need that type of glucose to survive. You don't need sugar to survive. But
So
sugar,
yeah, just like, can clarify that more for
yeah,
myself and the listeners.
for sure. I don't think anyone should be afraid of sugar. And I think there's so much power in enjoying treats and, enjoying festivals and holidays. Like that is not something to be afraid of. But what you consume on an everyday basis is it's unfortunate, but it is our responsibility to understand what we're putting in our body. So sugar on its own, cane sugar, there's nothing wrong with that. But where sugar is put in is a problem. Sugar is put
Mm.
in ketchup. Sugar is put in barbecue sauce. Sugar is put in teriyaki sauce. Sugar is put in every single granola bar. Sugar is put in bread. Sugar is put in your milk. Sugar is put in everything. And so they know, and science, they know that it's something that's very addictive. Like there's so many studies that show that it's more addictive than cocaine. And it's also, you also have to understand, like, why is it that apples are more expensive than gummy bears,
Mm.
right? Because there's a motive there. And again, it's unfortunate that it's our responsibility, because it shouldn't be, but that is something that we have to be aware of. And again, these are the questions you have to ask, like, why is that? Why is it that gummy bears are cheaper than apples, right? And
Mhm.
I don't think sugar's the enemy. Like I said, cane sugar is not an enemy, but when you mix cane sugar with a hydrogenated oil like canola oil,
Mhm.
and then you add in dairy that's processed and heavily filled with hormones, and then you add in some flour that's straight white flour with no fiber, and you say, here's a muffin, there's no nutritional value in that. And it's just going to cause a lot of inflammation. But again, if you're having like cake on your birthday, or it's like, it's not to be afraid, but again, it's that rule of understanding. Every time you eat, you're either healing yourself or you're increasing your inflammation. It's every single time. You're
Wow,
either healing or you're increasing your inflammation.
that's
And
profound.
it's just a choice every single day. And if you decrease your inflammation to a point where you can enjoy a treat and your inflammation bar is not exploding, amazing. But if your entire body is so inflamed and you just keep eating all these things, that's when all these symptoms are so persistent and they won't go away until you decrease all that inflammation.
Okay, so let's go back to the difference between glucose and sucralose.
Glucose
Only,
is yes,
yeah.
glucose is what you need. It is brain power. That's what you hear. It's energy. Yes, glucose is a very complex molecule. That is bread, and that is fruit, and that is vegetables. People forget that vegetables are carbohydrates. I think like people just assume vegetables are just like vitamins and minerals. But like if you eat cucumber, that's still brain food, that's still energy. Although it's not caloric dense, it's not going to give you too much energy.
Mm.
It's still energy. So glucose is a complex molecule. Sucralose is a branch of glucose, and it's just the sugar. Just like there's fructose, which is also another form of sugar. And they'll try and trick you in the ingredient list. There's like over 20 different names for sugar alone,
Wow.
just to keep you confused.
Okay, what are the top three confusing names?
Corn syrup is like one that you would think isn't sugar, but it is. Well, I mean, most people would know corn syrup is, but they'll do that. Also, another thing to remember in the ingredient list is it goes from most to least.
Mhm.
So if sugar is ever in the first ingredient, then that's always something you should never have, because that means it's mostly sugar. That's the number one ingredient, that thing.
Yep.
But yeah, there's sucralose, there's fructose. I think those are probably the biggest ones. But yeah, cane sugar is natural, and that is how, it's made plant. That's the plant, cane sugar. And it's just what they do and how they make sugar. Like corn is a problem. They process that a lot, and that's where they get that high fructose corn syrup, and that's very, very inflammatory to the body.
Don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, and review our podcast. Your feedback and support mean the world to us. Remember, healing is a lifelong journey, and you have the power to transform your life in profound ways.